Hey everybody and welcome back. This video is going to be really different from my normal content. I'm going to try to run all the way through without any edits just to go through everything that I need to. I do have some notes, so I will be looking off a good bit just to make sure that I kind of hit all of the key points since this is a pretty important topic. So the main reason for this video is with everything going on in the US with immigration and everything else, and also just seeing a video recently saying if you have a voice and don't speak out, then you're essentially part of the problem. I think the issue is big enough to agree with that. So jumping in, this is coming from a Christian perspective. I'm going to do my best to make it unbiased without compromising that. Now, starting out with what I would say is the kind of biggest point for me is I accepted Jesus as my Lord and Savior. I recommend you read the Bible and do the same and allow that to guide you. Now, what I think we're facing right now is rightfully called by many a crisis against humanity. So I'm not a Republican or a Democrat, but want to speak to both parties when I say that we need to stop with the rhetoric and the double standards and focus on what makes America great, which is the people. Not the white people, the people. Now, instead of focusing on the color of skin or blindly following others, we need to take the time to do our own research. With AI and everything else, it's easy to falsify information. So we really need to make sure that we're reading and looking into what is actually happening. If you're a believer, look to the Bible and see how we're called to love others and treat the foreigner as one of our own. If you're not, and even if you are, you should also look at the Constitution and how, regardless of citizenship status, we all have human rights. It's not based on the color of skin. Human rights are for humans. And for those of you focusing on the Constitution and rights stemming from it, remember it was written around 1787, 180 years after groups of Englishmen arrived here. The main reason I bring this up is I want you to remember that the term Native American is not reserved for people born in America today. It's reserved for those who were here first, which was groups of indigenous people. Now, people are going to try or defend or go against this, but instead of doing the research, people look to past administrations or periods of time. And I'm not saying that that is a waste of time. It's valuable to learn from history. But one thing I recommend here is the issue we're fighting today, it's not the numbers, it's the intent, the process, and the dehumanization of entire people groups. So we're currently seeing children representing themselves in court, children in deportation facilities, families being torn apart. People are quick to mention laws they don't fully understand, but in my opinion, we know humanity is lost for some when they're unable to even just for a moment imagine, what if this was happening to me and my family? People say that they want you to do this the legal way, but they don't really mean that, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. So when there's a quote that comes to mind for this. So for people who are saying, what if this was happening to me and my family, or who are unable to say that, I want you to think about this quote most of you have probably heard. It's from First They Came by Pastor Martin Niemöller, if I'm saying that correctly, in which I'm going to read. But background, he was a former Nazi supporter until he was imprisoned in a concentration camp. And that was for speaking out about Nazi control over the churches at the time. So the writing is this. First, they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. If you're trying to claim people who need to do it the legal way, as I mentioned a moment ago, but you aren't standing up for people that are doing it the legal way, then that view is completely misguided. Why aren't you standing up for those being deported with a legal status, or those that are being picked up during court appearances? This is not about the law for those of you that say it is, because you are completely avoiding the laws that are being followed. You're ignoring that with a goal of basically just stripping away rights from people who don't look like you. So if you think this doesn't impact you, remember what I just said. Saying I don't know or I was just following orders is no longer an excuse. You control the content you consume, the facts you search for, and the words you say. A reminder, we're seeing people of color being detained, beaten, and dehumanized regardless of their citizenship status. Repeating, regardless of their citizenship status. We're seeing white people experiencing the same, though nowhere near to the same degree, and they're experiencing this for just trying to help out fellow humans. This isn't an immigration problem, and it's not a political problem, and in my opinion, and it's not a legal problem. This is a human problem we need to work together to solve. This isn't just immigration and laws. This is humanity that's in many cases fighting for survival because certain groups are deciding others aren't fit based on the color of their skin. So I want to focus on this as this is absolutely something that should be solved with political and legal reform, but the problem we're facing right now is against humanity as a whole. I recommend that you do your research, you vote, you call anyone in local government to voice your opinion, donate your time and resources to people in need, and continue to do so until we see a change, and then keep doing it. Just remember, these are your neighbors too, regardless of whether they look like you or not.